Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages,
welcome back.
Welcome back to another interview episode.
Mm-hmm.
It went so well the first time we did it. We've even got another person back.
Yeah, sucker. So, who are you?
Good question. People know me as Andrew.
Yeah.
As Manky.
Manky, oh
as
yeah.
Chicken.
Manky.
Yeah. Manky.
All right, we have Manky on the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Manky.
Thank you.
What do you got for us today, mate? Look, ladies and gentlemen, we have Manky here on the show, and I've got word that apparently you may have done some years in prison.
I have. I've done 5 years.
5 years? Fuck, what was that for, mate?
That was for actually quitting my job. I quit my job. I had no job and a wife and family and mortgage and everything, and I'm like, this is not good. So I'm a painter.
Yep.
And I went into the Dulux centre in Midland, asked him if he knows of anyone looking for someone, and he said, actually, it's funny you say that. I've just had 2 separate guys in this morning. One was a bunch of Kiwi painters who were doing industrial painting of tilt-ups, like industrial big stuff.
Yep.
And the other one was a posh English guy who works at ACACIA prison.
Oof.
And they were looking for a painter.
Gotcha.
So I chose the latter.
Yep.
The first one sort of frightened me. Just the work involved, and the gentleman I would be working with, I actually chose a prison over them.
That's good. So
that's a great reference.
If you don't understand what happened there, he wasn't actually in prison for 5 years. He's worked at a prison for 5 years.
Yes.
Bit of a difference. So
on the maintenance team, painting.
Part of the maintenance team.
That's a pretty cool job. I reckon that's a pretty cool job. And doing that for 5 years, you must have come across a few interesting people along the way, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Both the prisoners and the custodians of the prison.
Yeah, okay.
But I was thinking about it on the way here. I was brought up to fear the law by my mum. I was brought up to fear the law. And also, when I was 13 or 14, I watched a film called Scum, which is about an English borstal, which is basically a prison but for young offenders.
Yeah.
And that film put me off going down the dark side.
Wow.
Scared you straight.
Yeah.
It kept me straight, that film. So I was even though I jumped on the chance to go and work in the prison, I was then nervous about going to the prison, and I had all these different ideas of what a prison was like, but didn't know.
So how was that first day rolling in to start your first day at work at the prison?
Well, let me take you back to the night before.
Yeah.
Lying in bed.
Yeah.
So my vision is I got a trolley that I was pulling with my gear on, and I'm walking up a narrow corridor with all these bars and guys banging on the bars and calling me out and whistling at me and things like that.
Their mugs going against the bar.
Manky's going to get a spanky. Yeah.
To the actual arriving at the gates, which you know would be normal to you, but then when you were through this beautifully landscaped area, beautiful green oval, and
nice,
and everybody just walking around freely,
like they were free,
and you know, totally amazing. Actually, that first hour was an eye opener. Yeah. So
not what you expected, definitely. So maybe calmed your nerves a bit, I would say.
A lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So I guess, so what's the procedure working there? You go to a certain section, you got a swipe card, or you have to sign in?
That's right. First, once you've been park your car, you go down to go through the scanner. You put any items you have through an X-ray machine,
Yep.
and then you're also scanned.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Mm.
Like for metal objects, I guess, weapons,
right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Then periodically there would be a search crew.
Yeah, yeah.
So because officers and maybe maintenance guys in the past have brought in drugs or illicit items,
Yeah.
they have to do so many searches a year to comply with the government, because
Okay.
ACACIA is privately run
Yep.
by Serco, which is a giant English company. And I worked for Sodexo, which is a giant French company, and we did the maintenance.
Okay.
And true to form, the English and the French don't see eye to eye.
History in the making right there. Isn't it?
It's carried on because there was hate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there was hate because
And you still felt that even even in today's, and you're just not completely different, right? It's like a business here, trades business, maintenance, and prison run.
yeah, but
How was there even still a conflict there? I don't even understand.
so both companies do the same thing. So both Sodexo and Serco look after prisons, do maintenance.
Right.
So each one could have done the whole thing, but it was set up so that Sodexo did the maintenance, and Serco did everything else. So we were maybe 12 guys out of 300.
Yeah.
So we
Okay.
sometimes not a good spot to be in.
Jeez. All right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you would go into your, I guess, front room, sign in first, saying you're here for work, and I guess most of the people would probably know you anyway by this stage. Get scanned. You've got a big room where all your tools are and stuff like that, I guess.
We had a compound,
Yeah.
just a giant shed really,
Oh, okay.
and Sodexo were given an allotted space,
Yep.
a giant tool cage, and then individual cages for all the trades.
Okay. Yep.
But I remember my first morning, we shared that space with prisoners as well. So at Acacia, it's a rehabilitation prison.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people working there, and our area contained the area where they repaired washing machines and dryers and fridges, and they had a small gang of guys that did that.
Okay. And that gang was actual prisoners working on repairing stuff? Or?
They ran it themselves.
Yeah, right.
They were overseen by this was called Hotel Block.
Yep.
And they had a couple of Serco, not officers, but sort of trade guys.
Yeah, cool.
And they oversaw them.
Ah.
Yeah. So the first morning, the painter that I worked with, Dean, he took me over and he introduced me to two elder gentlemen, and they were both like really nice and soft, and he gave them some sachets of coffee, and it was all very nice. And then he said, right, I'll take you for a little tour of the prison. We got in our buggy and we're driving off, and he goes, those two guys, the first one you met, the big guy, that's Dougie, which is Douglas Crabb. And at one stage, Douglas Crabb was the biggest murderer in Australia.
No shit.
Yeah, he's quite famous. He's got a song written about him by Hunters and Collectors
No way.
called 42 Wheels.
Interesting.
So he unhinged his Mack truck and drove it into a bar that he'd been refused service at. So he got into a bit of a verbal fight, and he walked out of the bar, got into his truck and drove it into the bar, killing 5 and injuring a lot more.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
And so you said he's an older boy now, so did he do that when he was young, like a lot younger? And
I think he did it middle-aged.
Yeah,
He's
okay.
mid-70s now, I think.
Right.
I think he was about 73 when I met him.
Mm-hmm.
Strong as an ox.
Wow.
Hands 3 times the size of mine. When he shook my hand, I could hear my bones cracking. And he pushed these industrial washing machines around Acacia Prison like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Amazing. amazing
Yeah.
strength, and still to this day one of the most positive people I've ever met.
Wow.
And he's been in prison for over 34 years, I think.
Yeah, okay. And who was the second guy?
The second, it's not funny because
Just
He-
Douglas Crabb,
Yeah.
born 1947,
Yeah.
Australian murderer, recently imprisoned in Perth for a multiple murder, which occurred when he drove his 25-ton Mack truck into a crowded bar or motel. Fucking hell, in the base
Yeah.
of Uluru.
yeah,
There's
yeah.
Rock. 5 people killed, 16 seriously injured. Wow, there you go. So he's got his Wikipedia page set up and
And a song written about him.
a
Awesome.
song.
yeah.
Wow.
Every 3 years, he goes for parole, and it's always been knocked back.
Yep.
But you know, when you meet the guy, you just think he's done his time.
Mm.
But that's the sorry.
The process.
No, I was forgetting the name of the guy who decides. It's
Judge.
no, it's like the
Oh, God, I love these games.
Can't remember.
like a commissioner.
Yeah.
So the commissioner, in his wisdom, has denied it because there's a lot of noise every time he tries to get
Yeah.
parole.
Mm.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of families and...
But I got
You know.
I got on with him really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you said there was another. Do you know the other bloke as well? Or?
Yeah, it's called Skip,
Skip.
and Skip
Yeah.
took his family on holiday on a yacht, the top end of Australia. It was his partner and her daughter, and they had a big row. So Skip decided to kill them both and chop them up and throw them over the side for the sharks.
Lovely gentleman.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen. So these are the first 2 guys that you meet
Yeah,
on your first fucking day of
Yeah.
work.
yeah.
And then they're sweet guys, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, toured around. After the fact, this guy tells you what they did, and you're like, what the fuck have I done now? Holy shit, that's
Oh,
crazy.
man.
I don't know if I am the same as most people, but when you first go into the prison, it's all exciting and you're hearing all these stories.
Yep.
But those stories slowly chip away at you until you don't want to hear any more stories.
Yeah,
Or
right.
you don't
Yeah.
want to know what this guy did
Yep.
because it always shocks you.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. That's unreal. Okay.
So were you fearing for your virginity on the first day?
That's the other thing that completely shocks you is I feel safer in the prison than I do going shopping in Midland Gate.
That's a fair comment, though.
Yeah.
Wow. What does that say about
At least
Midland?
there's someone there to help you at the prison.
As the maintenance, we were actually we were hated by Serco, but we were loved by, well, not loved, but we had a mutual respect by the guys in there because
Nice.
we fixed their stuff. I painted their cells. The plumbers,
Plumb their toilets.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Keeps the water running.
Yeah.
They're happy with that.
yeah. So we were. I never had any problem. 5 years,
Far out.
not a drama. Yeah.
Although you have told me a story about there was one drama with a brick being lobbed.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That was yes. So we were in Kilo Block, and Kilo Block is one of the Bronx blocks because they're the blocks that you go to when you first arrive.
So is that like I guess a medium security?
It's a medium security,
Yep.
and it's a rehabilitation prison, like I've said.
Yeah.
But it is run very very strictly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
By whom? By Serco or by
By-
the prisoners themselves?
by Serco.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some running of stuff going underneath
Yeah.
Serco, but
Not that you were privy to that.
no,
Yeah.
they are very harsh on security there.
Yeah.
But we were inside the block, and myself and Dean were painting the inside. He was on a ladder. I was footing the ladder, and there was just a normal people around. The officer was keeping them at
Yep.
like 10 meters away from us. But then all of a sudden, a a brick came flying across, aimed at Dean on top of his ladder.
Shit.
Yeah. Just missed him. And the officer just sent everyone into lockdown straight away. But we had two prisoner painters. One of the prisoner painters was very well connected.
Right.
And he goes, I'll sort this out. I said, no. I don't want you to sort it out.
Yep.
The officers are going to do it. He goes, no, leave it to me. No one's doing that to you guys. Anyway,
Here we go.
The next day, the gentleman that threw the rock appeared and apologised and said to my partner, Dean, that it's just because he reminded me of his dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why he threw brick at him.
Fucking hell. That cunt looks like my dad.
Jesus.
Yeah. But when, so the guy that was a worker with us, yeah, he could get anything done, I presumed.
Yeah, so that was going to be one of my questions for you. I don't know if you noticed any sort of like, because you see in the movies, there's like a hierarchy. There's like a, you know.
Prison boss.
Yeah, like the badass dude that
That's
just
it.
fucking has connections and
Gets what he
can
wants.
get shit done.
Yeah, but you've got to do something for him.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you witnessed that and maybe this guy was that guy, you know?
I think our guy was one of the workers for the big guy.
Oh, okay.
The,
All right.
The bigger the guy, the quieter they are.
Yeah, they're in there. Stay back a bit.
Everyone else is doing their work for them and quite visible, but they are
untouchable
and in the background.
Nice.
I'm sure the officers know.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're onto it, but they make it very difficult.
Well, that was it, because I always feel like you see in, you know, movies, just going on basically what we know of prisons from movies and shit, TV shows, there's always the main guy, and he basically has connections with the prison officers, right? And they do dealings and shit, and which is
movies.
Which is not
for sure,
right.
yeah.
But I can only imagine that has to go on in real life, because you hear about all so many drugs coming through prisons. How the fuck is it that easy to come through? Surely people that would work there can help smuggle in for a bit of side cash and all that sort of stuff. That's how I'm assuming it is, and you see it always on movies and stuff. So movies are always right,
100% accurate.
yeah.
Well, the prisoners have got a long time to work on you.
Yeah.
That's called grooming.
Mm.
I always thought, I didn't understand why we weren't given more training in grooming, because you are being groomed.
So every day they come and chat to you, and
They try tiny little things just at the start. They would say, can you just hold on to my lighter? I've got to walk through this gate. Can you hold on to my lighter? It seems nothing just to hold on to his lighter. But the next day, it'll be something else. Or the next month. Because they've got so much time that they're not in a rush. They want to see if they've got a mark.
gotcha. Yeah.
And slowly, they've got you from holding a lighter to maybe bringing in something, not drugs, but bringing in something that you shouldn't.
Were you aware that you may have gotten tested
I was tested.
a few times?
Yeah.
Yeah. Smart enough to realise, you know what?
You just knew.
Yeah.
2 officers had been done while I was there. So, you know.
What do you mean by been done?
They were bringing in drugs
Gotcha.
and
Officers were.
steroids.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, so it does definitely happen.
But they'd been marked on the outside.
Mm.
So they went to a gym that was, we're also like guys on the outside.
Associates.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we say patch members maybe.
Yeah.
Went and they did their deal there.
This is the thing, right? So, like, inmates would have people on the outside, would be able to tell these people on the outside that this officer, his name's blah, 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 they've got a life outside of prison. They can always go up to them and almost like blackmail the shit out of them if you don't do this
Yeah, something will
for
happen,
my friend
something.
in prison. Guess what's going to happen to you and your family? Like, that's fucked.
I don't know if it's like that, though, is it? It's
I don't know, but it
I'm
could
assuming
be.
in that situation it's more about the cash, about the money.
It'll be for cash.
Yeah.
But also, why not? They could easily be threatened as well, right? Like,
of course.
which is fucking scary to be a prison officer in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when you see the prison officer's life inside ACACIA, you feel like you've got a pretty good gig. A lot of them will tell you they have as well.
It's cruisy, yeah.
Whereas, because it's run privately, they run it on a lot less numbers than the government prisons do.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Amazing. I think maybe if the government took over ACACIA, they'd have to times 3 the amount of officers.
Yeah, okay.
They'd have to increase it by 300% for their stats.
Yeah, rightio.
And sometimes they would be running it so light, you just think, God, if the prisoners only knew how many officers were in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I think what the prisoners would have learnt about you, Andy, is that you don't give your lighter to Manky because he will lose it.
That is true.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
That was one big thing I was really worried about because I have undiagnosed ADHD. I've self-diagnosed myself. And I'm a very strong candidate. I'm terrible. To then go in a prison where you have to know where your tools are at all times, be accountable for them. I mean, that took up 20% of your day, your tools.
Yeah. So you check them out in the morning and check them back in at the end of your swing?
No.
At the end of your shift?
No, we check them out in the morning.
Yeah.
And then at the completion of each job you did, you did a tool check.
Yeah, right.
I was okay for a painter. I mean, a couple of brushes, a couple of painting rollers.
Yeah.
Maybe
But be a sparky, be a plumber. Absolutely.
a lot more tools.
Hammers and everything.
A lot more dangerous tools.
Yeah, screwdrivers and all sorts of shit.
And you've got workers as well. So each trade, if they wanted, could some of them have up to 3 or 4 workers.
Yeah. So because prisoners, there'd be tradespeople that are in jail for crimes, but then obviously they can still apply their trade in there to help.
Very good tradespeople as well.
Yeah. Now, would they get paid for that, or is it just a development thing, just to keep them busy?
You got paid.
Oh, they did get paid?
But they had different grades. And I forget if it was A, B, C, or D, or 1, 2, or 3, or 4, but I believe 1 was the highest.
Yep.
And when I arrived, there was a lot of guys holding number 1s, which meant you got a decent amount. You could get a pouch of tobacco and still have money left over to get other bits.
A Kit Kat.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like I was going to say, do you know what they would roughly even get for pay wise?
Well, now what's that's what
I'm saying.
A packet of tobacco is only $50.
Keep going. In the prison, it's more. I think it's expensive.
Wow.
They were getting around $90 a week, I think. But also, if your family are flush on the outside, they're allowed to put in $200 a week into their account.
Gotcha.
And you've got the prisoners had 2 types of spends. One was for tobacco, crisps, cans of Coke, things like that.
So there's a cafe, vending machine, stuff like that?
No, they would order it, and then once a week, they roll in this trailer, call out everyone's name, and hand out their spends. Now, you're going to last 30 seconds with those spends if you're not connected.
Gotcha.
You're being eyed up straight away.
That's it.
Yeah.
No crisps for you.
You're going to pay your tax to Mr. Big straight away.
With your ass. Yeah.
Well, no, with your packet of tobacco and
that's
your
right,
and your crisps. Yeah, so there was 2 kinds. So there was that, which obviously sounds like more of your luxury items, if you will.
Well, the next one's more the luxury items. Town spends.
Ooh.
So this is where
Macca's.
Someone goes into town and will buy you your ASICS trainers.
Oh, dangerous.
Your Nike hat.
What?
Oh, my God, that'd get stolen straight away.
I didn't know you could wear that shit in prison, though.
They wear ASICS, yeah.
Oh.
They have to wear their green...
the prison greens.
Prison greens, I think they've got a white singlet, but they can... So they've got really nice trainers. They've all got nice trainers.
Okay.
And they've got PlayStations as well.
Not in their cells, though.
In their cells.
And are they with the PlayStations? Are they running them with the CDs, with the discs?
Yes.
Yeah.
So an old school PlayStation.
Actually, it's Xbox.
Oh yeah.
Oh, oof.
Xbox.
They're allowed to have an Xbox in there. Wow.
Yeah, so a lot of them are playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And they could actually play against each other.
Within the prison?
Within the cell. Within a few cells.
You wonder why some people just want to go back to prison because it's better there, right? You got a comfy bed, you get fed, and you got a fucking Xbox to play.
As long as you know your place and your place is all right in the hierarchy, I would imagine that would be okay.
So, going back...
But someone like me, I'd never get any sleep.
That's right.
You know.
Stressing.
Yeah. No, from all the loving.
Which obviously went on.
Yeah, of course.
It's like for me, there's no way I would survive because I'm not connected.
Yeah.
And if you're on your own, that's it. You're tested very quickly.
Yeah.
So, are prisoners in the cell? So, like, you've got to go and let's say you've got to go and repaint a cell or do touch-ups or whatever. Are the prisoners in there, or the guards actually remove them beforehand, or do you just rock up with your tin of paint and
So they would be, I think, around 7 o'clock there.
Yeah.
They're all woken up.
Yeah.
And they're supposed to, they go down and get their breakfast. 3 or 4 trusted prisoners go to the kitchen, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And grab a few trolleys, bring them down, and then the allocated guy or 2 guys will serve out that food.
Yeah.
So he's also in a bit of a position of power. So I presume someone like myself, who would be a new boy, would be lucky to get, a slice of bread. If I didn't,
play the game.
Play the game. And
Yeah.
There's no way I'd be a smoker in prison. You just don't last.
No.
You light that cigarette and you've got 3 guys around you waiting
That's
to
it.
suck on it. So,
So was that the best time for you to get in there and paint someone's cell? Was in the morning at breakfast time because everyone's queued up?
It was a horrible system. We'd done our tool checks. We load our trolley up.
Yeah.
We're going to play, say, kilo block to paint Unit 2, Cell 5. So we spent an hour and a half getting ready.
You have at least 1 or 2 guards with you on the way to...
Oh, no, nothing on the way.
But at least there...
Then you would ask for... You ask for a guard. You get 1.
Okay.
They don't get bothered. Very rarely.
Yeah.
They sit outside the cell while you're painting.
Okay.
But...
You have to move all their shit. They don't probably like you touching their stuff, maybe. I'm assuming.
That's right. A lot of them have got a lot of pictures on the wall of almost, would you say, pornographic material.
Of the ladies. Or men. Or men if they're into that. You can't make assumptions.
But I can't imagine...
ladies.
I can imagine them getting, hey, man, don't fucking touch that shit. That's my stuff, right? Like,
no,
you got to move out of the way, or do you just paint the fuck around everything?
just paint around everything.
Yeah.
They were really nice. Like, we just having a laugh with them, and that was the best approach.
Cool.
We used to knock on the door, and they'd sometimes be lying in bed, which they weren't supposed to do, but they did. And they get up a bit grumpy, and I go, "Oh, I'm from the maintenance team. We just come to see if you're eligible to have the new Foxtel that they're installing." And I wasn't there for that.
Yeah.
But
and there is no Foxtel.
there is no Foxtel. But it's sort of, we had a bit of banter.
Cool.
We had banter, and that was good.
Yeah.
You couldn't do it with everybody, but majority of the prison, you could.
Nice. It's cool.
It is. So what else went down? Anything else? Anything memorable that happened? Any incidents or, mishap? Tomfoolery?
It wasn't tomfoolery, but the closest I came to fear was November Block. November Block is where you go after the Bronx if you've been a good person.
Okay.
So you do 6 months in the Bronx and you're good, you get nominated to go into November Block. In November Block, you have pods. So they have a living room with a big TV. They have a kitchen with knives and cutlery and everything.
So a bit more independence.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in that pod, you've got 6 cells. So they're unlocked in the morning and then they just go about their business all day.
Yeah.
November Block has its own area with a gym, tennis court.
These are guys that are probably close to getting let out, right? And they just...
Or is this... No, this is just 6 months after they've been there and proved that they're...
Shit.
Yeah, half is called the lifers section. So they're the guys doing the big numbers. 25. Like Dougie's there. He's 34 years in.
Yeah.
It's nicer than the Bronx. They also have a roster where they cook and clean.
Wow.
So each day they'll be on duty to clean, or they'll be on duty to cook. And there's some good cooks in there.
Nice.
Some amazing smells.
Yeah.
So I'm painting a pod, and I see a couple of guys during the day, and they just keep themselves to themselves. I finish the pod, but the next day I just want to go and just make sure everything dried all right. And I walk in, and there's a few guys in there now, and one of them is a guy that trains guys to fight. He's a MMA guy, and he knocked me. He just knocked me over with a look. he didn't have to do. There was no physicality. Mm-hmm. He just had that look. He looked straight through you, and I was nervous. And he said, "Hey mate, did you paint this pod yesterday?" And I thought, that's it. I'm gone.
Have I done a good job?
I'd gone in there. I had no guard with me.
Get you in a camel clutch.
And I went, yes, that was me. And he went, good work. And he went, Alan or Macca or someone. He said, watch the front. So this guy went out the front, and he turns to me and goes, I've done you a chicken wrap. So I don't think really I was supposed to eat the chicken wrap. But I wasn't saying no to this guy.
Imagine, I don't want that, mate.
Yeah. I don't eat chicken.
I thought, if I'm going to get into trouble for eating a chicken wrap, then so be it. I would rather
that's it.
keep the peace with this gentleman.
Fucking, that's funny.
Yeah. The other one in November Block, November Block had all the great characters, like, because you've got some guys that have done some big crimes. And this gentleman, American, he was in his 70s also, but he's very famous. There's a film with Tom Cruise called American Made.
Right.
He played a drug dealer who used to fly in and out for all the drug cartels, so the Escobars and that.
Yeah, I never watched the movie, but I do know of it.
So the character's name was Barry Seal in real life.
Okay.
Right. This guy was Barry Seal's boss.
Shit.
Right, and he was doing a 20-year stretch in ACACIA for 993 kilos of cocaine, I believe.
Wow, that's a lot of sniffing.
It's a cocaine or marijuana.
Yep.
And
can you get his name or not? No.
I'm not sure if you can stop this.
Did you say that's all right, Barry Seal? Keep going.
Yeah, it wasn't Barry Seal.
But his boss.
No. Barry Seal's boss. His boss man.
And he's written a book called The Smuggler.
Yeah.
The Smuggler.
And he used to work with Escobar and all those. He's escaped from 3 or 4 prisons, and he used to tell you all the stories. Wow. He was on that Netflix show, Australia's Most Dangerous Prisons or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And he was on that because he started off in Casa.
Yeah.
Did 5 years there, and then spent the rest of his time in ACACIA.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Okay. So I guess with the people that he's dealt with around the world and everything, he's in a paradise at the moment.
Well, unfortunately, after he was released, he was deported.
Yeah, of course.
And when he arrived in America, he got arrested.
Yeah, okay. So he's in prison over there now.
No, not anymore. He has now been released, and there's an amazing video of his release where his wife is waiting for him in their town, and he steps off the train, and there's a video of them having their first hug for 20 odd years.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine that.
Yeah.
Couldn't
and
even imagine
again, another amazing positive guy.
Yeah.
And
wow.
So we'd be in November Block painting and go, "Hey boys."
Yeah. He was Texan, was he?
Did he have some of that cocaine he was on?
It was the South, you know. And
Oh,
he'd go,
yeah.
"Hey boys, how'd you fancy some coffee and banana bread?"
Hmm.
And out he'd run.
Yeah.
This, notorious
Smuggler,
smuggler,
prison
very
escapee.
famous, and
Yeah.
he's making us coffee and banana bread. And
Jesus
Banana
Christ.
bread.
yes,
That's cool.
And the rest of the day flew by.
Yeah. That's a great story,
Yeah.
man. That's really cool.
And so I've watched him since his release.
Yeah.
He's done a few videos and he's done a few podcasts. But there's a classic where right outside his town there's a giant poster of a company that now sells marijuana.
Yeah.
And he's going, "Look at this. I just done 22 years and now it's legal."
It would be like that though, like with prohibition and stuff as well. I mean,
Yeah.
in the States,
Well,
it'd be
when
people inside for dealing alcohol, and then it's
Exactly.
free and available.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, now even marijuana, right? Because that's
Well, that's exactly right.
Completely-
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
available now in the States, right?
In the
Most
States.
most
And by
states,
prescription here in Western Australia. I
Yeah.
don't know about the other states,
Yeah.
but yeah.
people that have done time for that would suck.
Yeah. Or if you're still in there now for time
Yeah.
for...
How would that
you know,
work?
Well, it just... The law's the law. You got to serve your time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Mm. There you
Very
go.
good, mate. Very good. So that's a couple of really famous people you've come across, to be honest, I reckon.
There's others. There's Infamous.
Yeah.
There's Infamous, for instance, because you got protection there as well. You got the protection wing
Yep.
where all the really naughty people are, the paedophiles,
Yep.
and they house most of a group called the Hateful Eight. Or was that a film?
I think that's the film, but no, it was the I know the one that you're talking about. There was a particular guy was if my memory serves me, a particular guy was using his daughter or selling her or sharing her or whatever
Yes.
with
I
with
remember
a
this.
group.
Yes.
And that was here
Okay.
in Western Australia. So that wasn't that long ago though. Was it
Nah.
like 10 years ago maybe?
I reckon a good 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Maybe
least.
maybe a bit more.
5 or
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. And so they kept these guys together.
Well, there was a few of them in one wing.
Yeah,
which
okay.
which I never understood, but that's the way they run things. And the problem for me was the guy is a painter.
Oh, yeah.
And he helped you on some jobs all the time.
He's basically been working in the protection area ever since he arrived, doing each cell up.
Yep.
And we had to every now and again go and give him some paint, have a look at his work. And obviously they're very touchy about protection. You're not allowed to you have to be nice to them, like
You got to be polite and professional. Yeah.
And that's for everybody, the officers,
Yeah.
anyone that goes in there. They have people that go in once a week, group of people that have conversations, and are you being treated right? Are you being spoken to nicely?
Yeah, okay.
So you've got to that's the problem with knowing what these people have done.
You kind of just don't want to really sometimes because you got to deal with them all the time.
It's best not to, because it shades you. Having a daughter myself, inside you sort of boiling away, but he's been dealt with, and that's not my problem.
Yeah.
So you learn to deal with it, but I think after 5 years for me, it was time for me to get out of that.
You were happy to leave after that?
I was very happy to leave. Even though I'd say it's one of the best jobs I've ever had. It was just, a really interesting job. But there's that dark side to it that nibbles away at you. I think I've seen that in a few officers. I see officers who are absolutely not fazed with it at all. And they're the perfect people to work there.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember before I did a career swap, I remember looking into becoming a prison officer. But I sort of came to my conclusions that not for me. There's a bit too dangerous, and I don't think they get paid enough either for what they do. I don't know.
They have a lot of time off though.
Do they?
Yeah, they do get a lot of.
I think they're paid okay, and I think once they start doing a bit of overtime,
that's when you make it. Yeah.
There's some guys earning some decent coin there.
Yeah.
But then that means you are eating into your time off. But they do sort of a split roster, so they would work. This is one of the rosters. They do work 2 days, have 3 days off.
Yeah.
Work 3 days, have 2 days off.
Yeah, nice.
Well, that's not too bad. So yeah.
Then you've got the security side. So you've got the guys that work in the blocks, and then you've got the security, and they're the ones that work. They're the guys that check you in the morning.
Oh yeah.
They're the guys that will oversee the movement. So there's a lot of movement.
Cars coming in and out.
Not cars. Well, there's that. You've got that side of it, which is also security. Yeah. But I'm on about the movement of the blocks.
Okay.
So prisoners from one place to another.
You've got eight different blocks. You've got protection. They have to go and exercise. The normal blocks have to go and exercise.
Yeah.
They have to go and do their med run in the morning.
Yeah, right.
That's massive. Everyone's on meds there. Yeah. So they're like traffic controllers, making sure everything rolls fluently without,
Yeah, right. Okay.
Because occasionally you get a couple of guys that know where they're going to be, and they'll run towards each other and get a few fists in.
True.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And that is funny then.
Yeah.
Because then that's when you see the officers. You see the guys that want the biff.
And they go running in.
And they're running in as fast as they want to be the first one there. And then you see the guys that don't want a bar of it. They are supposed to go in that direction, but they're going in slow motion. almost doing a moon dance backwards.
Yeah. I'm coming to help you.
Yeah. But that's the other. You can be peace and quiet for 3 weeks, and then the 4th week, it just goes off. And ever since I've left, they've had 3 riots there.
So you never had one when you were working?
Not to the extent they've had since I left.
Gotcha.
They've had some crazy ones. Yeah.
I've heard about 1 or 2 lately. Yeah.
One was really scary, where it was actually kilo block, and they trapped the officers inside their movement and managed to throw in lighted materials, so there was smoke in them out.
Fuck.
And that's a couple of people are resigned straight away, and a couple on stress leave. It would be frightening to have a mob outside that window.
Did they have a female wing?
No, they had a female prison.
Yeah.
That I had something to do with as well, which was Malaluka.
Okay, different location.
So Malaluka was basically a part of ACACIA. ACACIA prison is an old prison, but what they did was they chopped a bit of it off, put a fence around it, modernised it, and turned it into a ladies' prison.
Ooh, the ladies.
Run by private company as well.
Yeah, okay.
Which didn't go too well. And I had to go there and do some repairs before it was put back into government hands.
Right.
They decided to build a lot of the walls out of plasterboard for some reason in a prison.
Yeah, they get smashed up straight
and they
away.
were just smashing it up left, right and centre.
Yeah.
So I arrived with, I think I had 2 weeks. Me and my co-mate, we had 2 weeks to put it all back to normal. And we walked into the office, and the second in charge came over and said, "I've got some good news for you guys." We said, "What's that?" He goes, "We've got 12 ladies to help you."
Fuck's sake.
And I'm like, "This is not good news. That is not good news. Not good news."
6 apiece.
And true enough, I thought it was a joke, but no, it wasn't a joke. And it just got worse, because in their selection, they chose 6 streetwise tough ladies.
Yeah.
One of them was the queen bee of the prison.
Right.
And then 6 vulnerable ladies.
Ah.
So
Bit of standovering.
I remember a few hours in, and I said to Dean, "I think this is going really well." And of course, that's what they want you to think. But it wasn't going really well, and they were going in and threatening the vulnerables and giving them a smack, and it wasn't nice.
Fucking hell.
But the Queen Bee lady, she was scary, but she also had a sense of humour.
That's good.
And she said, where are you two going for lunch today? And I said, oh, probably Hungry Jack's, it's just down the road. And she said, do me a favour. She said, get 2 burger patties and put them up your bum and bring them back for me.
Fuck's sakes.
And I said, okay, and what shall I do with the onion rings? We obviously, for the record, didn't bring the burger patties.
No, because you couldn't fit them in.
I didn't even know if she was being serious or not. She probably was.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it.
But for any middle-aged, out of shape, balding painters out there, I can highly recommend a trip to Melaleuca prison or any female prison, because it's the only time for like 25, 30 years that I've been shown any attention.
Yeah.
Got fresh meat.
Got some wolf whistles.
Yeah, I was going to say they got proposals for you and stuff like that, I guess, you know.
Yeah, tizzy themselves up.
Yeah. So that was fascinating, the women's prison. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was Greenough Regional, which is in the Midwest.
Yes.
That prison there, they had a riot there, but they've got, because that's kind of a bit more of a remote spot. They have everything there. They have low, medium, and high security, and then they also had the female wing, all within the same prison, but the females and the males never. Prisoners never crossed paths like until it was designed that. And when they had that riot. And then I think it was 9 months later, there was a heap of babies being born because you got a bunch of horny men and you got a bunch of horny women, and they're with a similar mindset, and they were in there. So that's
Acacia took a lot of the Gwyneth guys on.
Oh, did they?
They moved them into Acacia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you think they would keep moving them around?
Well, no, because they've got to be with a certain area for their families and things.
Yeah, true.
So they also have a lot of requests.
Yeah, for transfers.
For transfers.
Yeah. Well, we fly weekly because we're jet setters, and when we're probably at least once a fortnight, we will actually see the prison vehicle going to the airport at Karratha. We'll see the prison vehicle going to the airport, and then there's continual flights from further up north, and the prisoners are obviously, I don't know if they're coming to court in Perth or if they're actually transferring themselves, but there's always flights. There's always people
and for medical reasons.
Yeah, true.
That's another thing that annoys you, is the amount of money you see being poured down the drain. In my view, poured down the drain. For instance, there's a block in Acacia, and you would say it's for vulnerable and maybe people who are struggling with mental health, maybe people that should be, being looked after medically.
Yeah.
And they would have a hospital appointment, and three guys would get in that car with this little old man
Jesus
to
Christ.
take them to hospital.
Yeah.
To sit with them during their appointment and to bring them back. Yeah. How much does that cost for that? For an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
An absolute.
Yeah.
Actually, you're right.
Much money.
I see that because I work Charlie Gardner's hospital, so I see a lot of the prisons buses or whatever it is, the big vans. They come and park, and oh shit, here we go. There's a prisoner coming in, and 2 or 3 guards coming out, and next minute you got a wheelchair coming out for this one old man who has to sit on the wheelchair and get pushed. I'm like, what the fuck? There's like 3 of them looking after this guy in a wheelchair. He's not going anywhere quick.
It's not him. It's not for him. Because if some of his family work out that they get wind that he's going to the hospital, then they might maybe escape plan, or at very least just go and see him.
True.
You know what I mean? And
there is that side of it. It's just that when you, as a taxpayer, you just shake your head constantly, like the money thrown away.
Wow. Yeah. So there you go.
Very cool. You got any more questions?
I don't. I'm sure Andy's got
There probably is.
plenty of stories.
I think that was great, though. He covered some pretty cool stories.
We could always do a part 2 if he
absolutely
if he remembers anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, come back next time when he's got a list of mile.
I just can't. I can't believe I've forgotten the name of the guy. The drug smuggler.
The guy that he worked for. I've got Barry Seal here, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Now he would be interesting to do a podcast with.
But he's dead.
No, he's not.
Isn't he?
No.
Oh.
No.
Still
Not like the
alive.
movie.
I'll show you afterwards.
Okay.
Guys, look up
He's
Barry
with Elvis.
Seal on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Oh, Barry Seal's dead.
Got
Oh
a good
yeah, Barry
story.
Seal's dead.
Oh,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
he?
but not the guy. Also, no, Barry Seal. Yeah, because
Oh shit, he died at age 46.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got
So this guy
gunned
was
down. I'm pretty
86.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe Doggo can put a little flash his name.
I
up
sure will.
Once you
Once
do
we
a bit
figure
of,
out. So the guy that you met was Barry Seal's boss.
Well, he got Barry Seal to do jobs for him.
Nice.
Yeah. That's how
Okay.
big he got.
Sweet.
All right. Well, that is pretty damn cool interview, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this one. This is awesome fun. I'm loving this. Loving interviewing some cool stories from
People.
normal people.
That's it.
It's
what,
so
what
cool.
happens to you? What life throws at you?
That's right.
It really
Yeah.
does. It throws at you lots of things,
Oh, for
including working 5 years at a prison
Yeah.
and meeting some really interesting
Thanks
people.
again, Manky, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Until next time.
Take it
What
easy.
life throws you is. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe and all that good stuff
And write
because
comments and
it
things.
always helps and stuff.
Yeah, stuff
Yeah.
and things. All right.
Bye,
Peace
guys.
out.